Hi, it's Margaret Badana, the reporter of this group. Welcome to GASB Group B presentation. We are going to discuss relevant topics on how to write a practical research paper. This is to cater the lessons Practical Research 1 of senior high school students. So, to begin with, we will be opening the topic Nature of Inquiry and Research, which that are composed of 3 lessons, and they are as mentions. Lesson 1, the importance of research in daily life, and Lesson 2, characteristics, processes, and ethics of research. Lastly, Lesson 3, quantitative and qualitative research. And by the way, before we begin our presentation, please allow us to introduce ourselves. We are the Group B and the following members are as follows.
Having the role of Assistant Secretary, I'm Renz Magalion. So, to begin with, allow me to discuss the importance of research in daily life. As the beginning of researcher, you must know the various purposes of research for you to understand why it turned out to be a very essential skill to everyone. Primarily, research will teach you to work independently and scientifically. As you know, information can be found everywhere. However, not all of them are reliable. Learning how to research effectively may prevent you from the danger of falling into the pit of fake information. In gaining information for yourself, you may not want to depend entirely on information provided by anybody. Thus, you must equip yourself with the best researching skill and strategies.
Hi, Jason Podilana is the name, the fourth and last member of these reporters. Here to elaborate what Lesson 1 is about. Before that, allow me first to digest with you the meaning of research and what's in it for you. What is research? Research means to look for again, to search again, to study again, to discover again, out of existing knowledge, out of existing truth, out of existing facts, out of existing information. When you say research, you look at with a different objective and with a different perspective. Your goal is to come up with a new set of information based on the existing things that you found online.
According to the Drayton and Falk 2001, the following are the sum of the characteristics of inquiry-based learning. Inquiry takes the sum of the form authentic, real-life problems within the context of curriculum in our research project community. The investigation capitalizes on the students' natural curiosity. Data and information are used to interpreted, defined, refined, digested, and cursed effectively. The investigation is linked to the community and society, and the students take responsibility for their own education.
And now let's move forward to the Lesson 2, the characteristics, processes, and ethics of research.
Hi, I'm Josabel Elman, one of the reporters. Research is described as a scientific research of phenomena that comprises the gathering, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of information in order to align one's speculation with reality.
In this part, Angel Morales and Dino Platon will discuss the characteristic of a research.
I'm Angel Morales and I am the coordinator and assistant leader of this group. Starting off with the characteristics of our research. Research is empirical. When we say empirical, it is based on direct experience or experiences of the researchers. This is something that is verifiable via on information or rather observation and not just on theories or speculation. Also, research is logical. When we say logical, it is based on valid arguments, procedures, and principles. So this is something that is well taught and it is a product of sound reasoning. Research is cyclical. When we say cyclical, it ends or it starts with a problem and it ends with a problem as well. So how come from our study comes another possible study to pursue by other researchers? So now as we go on with our research study or research paper, we will encounter problems along the way, and these problems or conflict that may arise from our study may be something that our researchers get pursue and work on.
And I'm Nino Pilato as the encoder. Reporter next to that is analytical, so research is also analytical in the sense that it utilizes proven analytical procedure and data. Gathering, so here we use organized and systematic procedure of how we gather data, how we interpret data, and how we present our data gathered. Research is also processes the characteristic of being replicated or reproducibility. So the research design and procedure are replicated to enable the researcher to arrive at a valid inclusive result. You know, just like for example in qualitative and quantitative we have different available designs to follow. For quantity we have descriptive, we have correlational, quasi experimental or experimental, and these are the design that we may utilize in order for us to have pattern to follow how we are going to collect the data, what kind of data we are going to collect, and how would we interpret those data. Lastly, research is critical, so this exhibits careful and precise judgments. So here we require objective. It requires objective and accurate evaluation of data gathered to answer our research problem and the research questions that we have. So here once we gather the data, we interpret the data, we decide based on the interpretation of our data gathered if we will be going to accept or to reject our hypothesis if we have hypothesis in our study. Again, the characteristics of research are the following: empirical, logical, physical, analytical, reproducibility, and critical.
Good day, it's Renz Magallaon again, the Assistant Secretary speaking. The process of research should really start with identifying the research problem. To start with, keep in mind that the very foundation is what the research problem that guides everything else. Once one has identified the research problem, then one conducts a review of the literature. And by literature, we are talking about a literature dealing with scholarly work regarding a problem that might be a journal article, it might be a dissertation that was done, but we're talking about a peer review literature. Then once the literature is reviewed, one would determine what is the research purpose. It might be that the literature indicates that the purpose was not really needed. It might be that the literature really caused a purpose to stand out and caused the study to narrow. So once one has identified a problem review, the literature, and determines the purpose of the study, then one can begin to collect the data. The data are then analyzed and interpreted, the findings are reported on. We would be back into increasing the body of the knowledge into the particular research area.
Hello, it's Vince Gilmore again speaking. There are three factors to consider in selecting a research problem. First, researcher. Area of interest. Second, availability of funds. And last, investigator ability and training.
Hello, it's Margaret Badana again, the reporter of this part, about the ethics of a research. According to the dictionary definition, Webster 1968, ethics deals with opinions about what is wrong or right, appropriate or improper, good or evil. To be ethical is to follow established professional practice. So, the ethical considerations in conducting research are: first, objectivity and integrity. Second, respect of the research subject's right to privacy and dignity, and protection of subjects from personal harm. Third, presentation of research findings. 4th, misuse of research role. 5. Acknowledgement of research collaboration and assistance. 6. Distortions of findings sponsors. So, it is important because research ethics are important for a number of reasons. They promote the aims of research, such as expanding knowledge. They support the values required for collaborative work, such as mutual respect and fairness. This is essential because scientific research depends on collaboration between researchers and groups. While the unethical practices in conducting research are deceiving a respondent about the true purpose of a study. Second, asking a respondent questions that cause him or her extreme embarrassment, guilt, or emotional turmoil by leaving him or her an unpleasant experience. Third, invading the privacy of a respondent. Fourth, studying the respondents of research subjects without their knowledge. Fifth, when analyzing the data, revealing only part of the facts, presenting facts out of context, falsifying findings, or offering misleading presentation, such as lying with statistics. Unethical behavior can be defined as actions that are against social norms or acts that are considered unacceptable to the public. Ethical behavior is the complete opposite of unethical behavior. Ethical behavior follows the majority of social norms, and such actions are acceptable to the public.
I am once again Cindy A. Aniago, the leader of Group B. I am in charge of Lesson 3, which is the last lesson that tackles about the definition of quantitative and qualitative research, in which gives us the differences in the sense of criteria, characteristics, philosophical assumptions, as well as the methodology each type of researcher has. To give you further context on what these two are about, let me explain further. Quantitative and qualitative research are both classified as a research design in which any researchers can use to be able to present their study in a way that the panelists can understand and show its significance in the best way possible. From the word quantitative, this type of research design is based on numeric data that can be quantified, counted or measured, and given a numeric value. It explicitly specifies what is measured and how it is measured in order to uncover, for example, behavior, motivation, emotion, and cognition. Quantitative data collection is considered to be much more structured than qualitative method. Quantitative techniques typically comprise various forms of questionnaires and surveys, structured interviews, as well as a behavioral observation based on explicit coding and categorizing schemes. Qualitative, on the other hand, is a method of inquiry that develops understanding on human and social sciences to find the way people think and feel. Qualitative research is conducted with the aim of exploring and discovering the ideas used in the ongoing processes. It is descriptive in nature, expressed in terms of language, rather than numeric values, and focuses on qualities of users, which is the why behind the numbers. Qualitative will offer you an in-depth understanding of your research problem and hopefully help you answer your hypothesis. To simply put in words the shown table's idea, allow me to expound its points. First, qualitative data offers rich, in-depth insights and allows you to explore context, as opposed to quantitative research, The purpose is to examine cause and effect relationship between variables. Second, qualitative research is exploratory, as opposed to quantitative research, which is conclusive. Third, qualitative research develops the initial understanding, whereas quantitative research recommends a final course of action. Fourth, quantitative data is fixed and universal. Qualitative data is subjective and unique. Fifth, and the final number, the qualitative research follows a subjective approach as the researcher is intimately involved, whereas the approach of quantitative research is objective as the researcher is uninvolved and attempts to precise the observations and analysis on the topic to answer the inquiry. It is hard to conduct a successful data analysis without qualitative and quantitative data. They both have their own advantages and disadvantages, and often complement each other. As you can see, both provide immense value for any data collection and are key to truly finding answers and patterns. But these two are not the only research design known as of today. And choosing the best fitting won't only benefit the researcher, but is also capable of showing the efforts they have done to be able to finish the given project. And there you have it. This sums up our presentation for the Module 1 entitled Nature of Inquiry and Research. We are again the Group B, and thank you for listening.